when he was at Alabama. And speaking of flashes, we've seen that from the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, year after year, we see them start the season off slow, and then they pick things up towards the end. That 0-3 start was concerning last year, and they were better than that. So how can they avoid that slow start this year heading into training camp?
I think first things first is, your defense isn't there, so the offense has to step up even faster. You have your two receivers, you have Joe Burrow, but all of a sudden, if Trey Hendrickson doesn't show up, if Shamar Stewart isn't signed, you have to understand that, okay, your schedule actually is very appealing when it comes to those first three games. You got the Cleveland Browns in there. You have an opportunity with Jacksonville Jaguars to start quickly because of easier schedule early on. And so Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins have to put the team on their back because the defense, at least when it comes to pass rush, may not be ready early.
I feel a lot better on this camping trip now that we have spoken to you, Sam. Thank you for your insight.
Across the league, and two men camping in suits. Join me around the campfire. Mike Tannenbaum, put a little heat to our marshmallows here.
Jake, can you pass the graham crackers?
Sure, I'll get those for you if I can get out of this chair. All right, so many new faces from the draft and from free agency, my friend. Excited to make a mark on their new team. So which happy camper do you foresee making the biggest impact?
Jay, we're going to go out to Las Vegas, where they may not be having a campfire, but Ashton Genty, Boise State running back, somebody that had massive production in college, almost 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards, average 6.4 yards a carry. When you have a bad defense like the Raiders do, Jay, what do you want to do? You want to play keep away, and that's what Pete Carroll and offensive coordinator Chip Kelly are going to do. When you think about Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, this is a great way to keep those offenses off the field. Think about this is beast mode Vegas style for Pete Carroll.
I just wanted to remind you, I was told we should not eat these marshmallows. So don't eat them.
Well, it was beast mode, it had Skittles, so we're okay, not marshmallows.
Perfect. Uh-oh, there's a snake. Don't move. I'm kidding. Okay, let's move on, all right? Some teams got lost in the woods, my friend, lots of camping puns, to navigate their offseason plans. Which squad left you pining for more with what they accomplished?
The Dallas Cowboys, for two reasons. One, they have arguably the best young defensive player in the game in Micah Parsons. They should have signed him a year ago, Jay. That would have been roughly $35 million. Now, after Myles Garrett extension with the Browns, it's going to be north of $40 million. Why did you wait? So they didn't get Parsons signed, and then I'm really worried about their run defense. 30th in the NFL a year ago. They added Kenneth Murray. They re-signed Uzaduke. But I don't know if that's going to be enough. And in that division, to get to where they want to go, stopping the Saquon Barkley's of the world, the run defense is a concern.
I guess the Cowboys should have looked to their North Star for a little help with their decision making. Okay. Before you go, sir, before this whole thing falls apart, I need you to pick a team that will be taking a hike, shall we say. Which playoff team from last season is most likely to miss it this season?
The Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers. Look, it's a one-year trial, but he's going to be 42 years old, no off-season program. And look, they have a great weapon, we know, in DK Metcalf. But after that, who is he going to be throwing the ball to? And when we think about Buffalo and Baltimore and Kansas City, those are going to be teams that can score prolifically. And although he's had a great career, four-time MVP, Super Bowl champ, Jay, I just don't know if there's enough there, and we'll be asking for some more in terms of their offense this year.
You say some more, some more is a good. That's my man. That's the punster right there, Mike Tannenbaum. Appreciate the knowledge, brother.
Is the audience pining for more?
Oh my gosh, y'all got to wrap it up. I don't think so.
Yeah. Todd Fritz later, I'll be disappointed. Now,
you should.
To the confessions of Kirk Cousins. Captain Kirk opens up on the Netflix show Quarterback, revealing that he felt a little bit misled, in quotes, when the Falcons drafted Michael Penix Jr. 8th overall just weeks after signing him as their new starter to $1 trillion. He implies that had he known, he would have stayed with Minnesota. Cousins also admits he didn't want to rest his injured arm last season because he was afraid of getting Wally pipped. What a great reference, Tone. What are you hearing all of this?
So what I hear from Kirk Cousins is he feels completely betrayed by the Atlanta Falcons for drafting Michael Penix in the first round. What I also hear is that if he knew then what he knows now, he wouldn't have done it. He would not have left Minnesota for Atlanta. And if, in fact, that's the case, then the great year Sam Darnold had wouldn't have existed, and Sam Darnold wouldn't have this lovely contract in Seattle. Now, what Cousins is saying on the record, a lot of it is exactly what you're supposed to say. We have to be grown-ups. We have to be adults. You're not promised anything. But what I'm also hearing from him is that, you know, I hate the Atlanta Falcons. I hate their owner. I think they are duplicitous. And I'm also hearing what everybody said at that moment, Mike, which was, what do you mean you're drafting Michael Penix? You just signed Kirk Cousins. What are you people doing? And I think that's what I'm hearing and what Cousins is saying.
I'm hearing the process, the everyday process of modern day sports, in which there's a Netflix documentary or somebody's got a podcast or 8 million people have a podcast, and we hear more of people's inner thought process than we ever have. So we yes, you have that also. We hear more from athletes about what they really felt. And it's not that people didn't feel these things 100 years ago that Terry Bradshaw didn't feel, and there was no place to air that. Yeah. And so it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and this is the business of sport. And you can find this anywhere somebody opens their mouth, whether it's a quarterback or a tennis player or a point guard or a race car driver. This is what you have. Regret, maybe.
So I agree with it.
And second thoughts
I agree with
and
that.
all of it.
I'm going to tell you this about Cousins. I'm not going to sit in a corner and cry for Cousins. Okay? He leveraged his situation in Washington to get a great contract in Minnesota. He leveraged his situation in Minnesota to get a great contract in Atlanta. $296 million. $296 million. But as the Beatles said, money can't buy me love. And he does not feel any love in Atlanta right now.
It can buy
me love. He feels betrayed in Atlanta.
Yeah, it can.
Feels betrayed.
Buy me love.
Let's move to the NBA.
Yo, Vikings Nation! Victor here, back on Report Vikings. And today, we've got a wild one. The Kirk Cousins reunion talk is officially back on the table. That's right. After his comments in the new season of Netflix's quarterback series, there's real buzz about him potentially coming back to Minnesota, and I gotta say, I've got some thoughts. Let's break this all down, and of course, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell so you don't miss anything purple and gold. Let's get into it. Alright, so, Netflix just dropped season 2 of Quarterback, and guess who's featured again? Kirk Cousins. But this time, instead of rocking that Vikings purple, he's with the Falcons. And let's be honest, it wasn't the most glorious chapter of his career. He ended up losing the starting job to rookie Michael Penix Jr. But here's the kicker, the dude clearly didn't want to leave Minnesota in the first place. He straight up said, and I quote, "I had no reason to leave Minnesota with how much we loved it there if both teams were going to be drafting a quarterback high." And man, that hit me. That wasn't just football talk. That was heart talk. Even his wife and son were talking about missing Minnesota. You could tell they felt that move. Now let's talk about where we are right now. The Vikings are all in on the future with J.J. McCarthy. We spent the draft capital, we're building around him, and honestly, there's a lot to be excited about. You've got Sam Howell as a solid backup and Brett Rypien as the veteran voice in the room. The QB room feels stable, on paper. But here's the thing, well, what if it's not enough? What if J.J. struggles in the preseason? What if Sam Howell doesn't look like a true safety net? Are we really gonna risk a loaded 14-3 roster on a QB room that might not be ready? Oh, now, here comes Bleacher Report saying Minnesota should be one of 4 teams pushing for Cousins if Atlanta opens the phone lines. And I know what some of y'all are thinking. Victor, we've moved on. It's McCarthy time. And you're right. Kinda. But remember, Kirk and Kevin O'Connell had real chemistry on the field, off the field, in the locker room. Say what you want about Kirk, but he was efficient. He was accurate. He was a leader. He helped lead us to 13 wins in 2022. And last year's collapse wasn't on him. We were injured everywhere. And let's be real, if the Falcons want to get rid of part of his salary and get a draft pick back, wouldn't it make sense for us to at least consider it if things go south this August? A mid-season plug-in veteran with deep system knowledge? That's not nothing. But hey, I want to hear from you. Should the Vikings even entertain the idea of bringing Kirk Cousins back? Or do you think we ride with McCarthy no matter what, even if he struggles early? Let's open up the comments. Drop your thoughts down below. Would you welcome Cousins back in purple, or is that chapter closed forever? Personally, I love what McCarthy brings to the table, and I hope we never have to make this call. But if push comes to shove and we're sitting at 1-3 or 2-4, don't be surprised if Kwesi dials Atlanta. Just saying. Thanks for hanging with me, Vikings fam. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe for more, and turn on notifications so you never miss a beat from the world of the Skull. I'm Victor, and no matter who's under center, we ride together. Skull baby!